Good
That's
morning,
good.
Jay.
Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry,
Good to see you again.
we can see
Thank you.
you. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
We're good. Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, thanks for having me. Good to see everybody.
Okay, I'll get rolling. Good to see you, Jay. Thank you so much for attending this. Let's talk about 2024 season first of all. Introduction to hybrids. How do you feel that went?
We think it went obviously very, very well. It probably, this is probably an extreme, but in our opinion, it was probably one of the most successful launches of some, sort of technology in motorsports history. We from the Milwaukee Open Test to the end of the season, we ran almost 92,000 miles. And there was really, if you think about it, in those 92,000 miles, there was just a couple minor things that probably happened over the course of that time. 27 cars running our hybrid unit. It was a great effort by Honda, Chevrolet, all of our teams, our paddock, everybody INDYCAR to get this thing over the top. So it took a while, right? Which that's always something that's frustrating. But ultimately, once we got the product on the track, we think it performed very well.
Yeah. What's the timeline, Jay, for increasing the output of the hybrid unit now that it's proven successful at what appears to be like a 50 to 60 horsepower boost?
Yeah. So think of it. So next year, this year we ran it basically half the season, right? So next year will be the first time we run it for a full season. Probably the first time we see any kind of really increase in it will be in 2026.
Right.
Think of it like that the hybrid unit has about 60 horsepower and push to pass has about 60 horsepower. So those combinations will still be used or be available to the drivers. It's funny, we had Matt Greco, who does a lot of our timing and scoring data, one of our technology guys, came up with some criteria to show how it was used on an oval, because we weren't exactly sure how and when it was used. It's amazing to see how the drivers, as they became more and more used to used it more and more, it became more of a tool that they at their disposal. So really good. Obviously next year will be the first year we have it at the 500, the Indy 500, which will be different. So next year will be kind of status quo. Look at it differently in 26 going forward.
Right. And is the ultimate plan to do away with push to pass and just have the extra thump of an increasingly powerful hybrid unit?
Possibly at some point. Again, right now we're comfortable with the drivers having the multiple tools. You can use the hybrid by itself, you can use push to pass by itself, or you can use them together. So for 25 and 26, we'll keep that format.
Right. I mean, the difference between the two systems is obviously that the hybrid can be used in qualifying, for instance, and it can also be used as the drivers roughly use it at the same rate because they're using it every lap. Is there a danger of that creating a kind of stalemate between the cars, in which case that would harm the potential passing opportunities that it theoretically presents? And would you consider something like the DRS system in F1, whereby you would prevent, when the car was 1 second behind, it wouldn't be allowed to use its hybrid unit for when he's being passed?
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll do that. From a stalemate perspective, obviously there's multiple tools that the drivers have, right? They cannot use it. They can use it in the hybrid. They can use the push pass. They can use both. So we think there's enough tools to differentiate the drivers and what they're doing. Again, it was funny on the oval part. Talking to multiple drivers, there were some that thought it had no really impact or effect at all on an oval, right? And then there were other drivers who said it was huge. They used it a lot.
Yes.
So again, that's why we go back and make sure that we can look at data to quantify which is which. And I think the drivers who maybe didn't think it was that impactful now understand it probably could be, and they might look at it a little different going forward. So I guess in that regard, you talk about a stalemate. I don't think we would ever get to that, because these guys, our drivers are spectacular. They're going really quick. So every little bit matters, and this is just
Mm.
again tools that they have.
Yeah, I've had those same differing opinions on how much of a difference it makes on ovals, and both, for example, Colton Herta and Santino Ferrucci said, yeah, it does give you a good kick off the corner. It creates possibilities where there might not have been before if you apply it correctly. So yeah, how it affects the 500 will be absolutely fascinating.
For sure.
What's the thinking behind Milwaukee going to one race next year and Thermal becoming a championship round? Is there a limit on the number of races that you feel INDYCAR should hold?
Well, right now, you're comfortable with the 17 where we're at, and I think the schedule expand. Certainly, I think ultimately, if it does expand, it's about getting new and big events like we announced, Dallas, a month or
Yes.
so ago. Obviously, that's a really big event. That's something we're very excited about. The Cowboys involved, the Texas Rangers are involved.
Yeah.
Those are great partners to have, and they'll make sure that the event is very successful. So I don't think it's necessary about the quantity; it's about the quality going forward, and that would be the reason why we added something. In regards to Thermal, last year, a lot of the drivers after the event said this could be a really good race. If we have a proper points race, they were
Right
on that. So we went back to Thermal. Thermal's been a great partner. They agreed to it. They added 600 feet to their pit road. Spent about $1 million to make their pit road. Really, it's probably one of the nicest pit roads we have on the circuit right now. So we have that, and we're excited about next year's schedule. We think again that the Thermal race will be really good. And sometimes when you have a double header, it's funny if you look at race 1 to race 2, how sometimes they're different. Because race 1 you got to make sure one of your goals is to make sure you survive to get to race 2 the next day. So if you have a single race in Milwaukee, who knows, that could be really spectacular, because actually last year the double header, both races were very good.
Yeah, superb. It's just great to be back on America's oldest track.
Amazing. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The Fox deal, obviously, it's great to have it in place. How quick do you think the teams will see the benefits of that in terms of viewing figures, to be able to boast to potential sponsors?
Yeah.
Well,
I think they're already seeing it. So we yesterday we're going through our off-season meeting cadence. So yesterday we had our annual off-season preseason drivers meeting, and went through a lot of different things with them. But on Fox, there's already been stuff on Fox on the NFL on Sundays. There's been a couple of things where the pace car driver, the pace car. There's been some schedule stuff. So Fox has done a really magnificent job already. And if you look at it just from 24 to 25, just on the number of races that we have on network, obviously 25, they're all going to be on network. So that's a 25% uptick just there, just based off of that. So the numbers should be, again, if you just look at that, the amount of races on network year over year should be at least 25% above where we were at 24. So really excited about the partnership. They've been here weekly. Somebody from Fox has been about different things that they want to do going forward in the next year. Excited to have them. It's going to be a spectacular partnership.
Right. And looking at 26, how did the Arlington deal come about? Like, how was that? How was it realized that was one particular? I know that INDYCAR would no longer go to a venue that didn't hold enough interest. So how was it ascertained that this could be a huge deal?
Well, it's funny. We were actually approached about it probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
It was kind of a unique situation. There was a lot of enthusiasm for it. Actually, originally it was coming from the Rangers' perspective. We are partners with the Cowboys with Legends. We do all of our licensing. So the Cowboys are a partner of ours. Now, there was just many people involved that saw this as a really cool opportunity. Obviously, again, we already have partnerships with a lot of the groups that are involved. We really wanted to be in Texas. NTT's based right there, right around Dallas. So
Right.
We felt it was a really good opportunity. And anytime you can partner with somebody like Jerry Jones, somebody like the Texas Rangers, I mean, it's going to be off the charts.
Right. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors around also that in 2026, Mexico City could be on the schedule. What can you tell us about that?
Obviously, that's an important, area, important part of the world for us for lots of different reasons. It would be just speculating at this point, but obviously that's something that we're interested in. At some point down the road.
Right. Obviously, it's long been debated whether INDYCAR should or shouldn't venture outside of North America for its races. What's your feeling on that at the current time?
Well, I think, there's obviously the United States is a really big country. North America is a very, very big geographic area. I don't think we necessarily have, right now we're not really in the Northeast. They're not in the Northeast. That's important. There's other places that we probably need to go first before we start looking outside of the country. So I think, like we mentioned, we're at 17 races. Could we expand to more? Certainly. But we're not going to expand just to expand. It's got to be something that's a big event. So again, there's opportunities within the states right now that I think we could all be excited about over the next couple of years. So we'll see how that plays out.
Right. The next gen INDYCAR. It seems everyone's priority is for a lighter, more nimble INDYCAR. Now, obviously, that's feasible while maintaining the current safety level or even improving them. But more exotic materials would be needed, and therefore driving up expenses. What's your feeling on, or how do you balance the needs of the drivers with the needs of the team owners?
Well, that's a great question. That's something we work on very hard, every day. If you remember, in 2016, we come up with that rolling 5-year plan, which is still active. So it's interesting if you look at the plan. Around 2020, things just got delayed, right? Remember?
Absolutely.
Pushed and then pushed, and then where we're at, and so we're finally at a point where now the thing is kind of rolling again, right? So we've got the hybrid introduction in 24, 25, and 26 will be kind of status quo. There'll be updates, but kind of your normal annual updates. Then what does 27 look like? So 27 right now we've got multiple working groups looking at what 27 could and beyond could look like. So again, it's this current car we have. It's been an amazing car, right? It's extremely safe. It's fast. It races well. It looks good. We break track records, everywhere we go every year, and that's just incredible. It's a testament to the great drivers we got and the great teams we have. But this car has been, it's when they say historic, I mean it's historic in a lot of really, really good ways too, right? So anyway, so we're looking at 27. What could that look like? We got different working groups looking at different parts, pieces, cars. Engine, what will 27 and beyond look like? So we should have something first part of next year defined, and it's being worked on. So people, it wouldn't be like, hey, you can't just announce something in February or March of next year and then just start the project. The projects that we're working on the project. So what it actually looks like, and the timing of all of it, I think we'll have a better indication of the first part of next year.
Right. And do you expect a significant change in the engine formula?
Not significant change in the engine formula. I would think, what does a hybrid look like going forward, right? So the current system that we have, again, was an amazing technological advancement. Again, Honda, Chevrolet, our guys, everybody did a phenomenal job creating it. But it's been built for us, right? This is it's a unique piece. It's one of a kind. It's ours. What does that look like going forward? So that's part of what I think you look at. What could look different next is what does the hybrid output look like in 27?
Right. Um, Inevitably, I think every time we speak, I ask, how's it going as far as getting a third engine manufacturer involved? Um,
Right.
what's the latest?
No, so it's funny, man. You know, that's something we work really hard on, right? And so much of this is timing, and we've been really close numerous times. Things happen and whatnot, and it's frustrating. And anyway, that's part of what when we talk about these working groups and what we're doing and what 27 going forward is going to look like. Well, that's we want to make sure they would be enthused too, right? So we're talking to others. What would entice you? What would be something that would be interesting to you? What is something that makes sure you're not behind right out of the box? What is something, that type, those are the type of questions. So we seem to have some pretty good interest. Again, we've said this before. I'm, Missouri Tiger, I'm a show me person. I'd rather just show you what we got versus talk about it all the time, which is, it feels like what we do sometimes on the OEM piece, but we feel good about directionally what we're seeing and telling and talking to them about what they could be enthused about going forward. So if we can get that over the top, again, cost is a big thing on that. What's it cost? What's the point of entry cost? What's the operating cost? All that type of stuff. So those are things we're working on. And that's good for, like you mentioned, on the owners too. I mean, it all falls into place, right? There's a
Yes.
finite amount, there's got to be a return. There's a CapEx cost to come in. What is that? How's that going to work? How many cars are we going to have? What's it look like going forward? On the plan, if you remember when we did that too, was one of the biggest goals of the plan was to grow the series. You grow have more team owners, have more cars, have more, entries, that type of thing. So that plan is far exceeded our expectations. Remember, the original plan called for 24 cars and 3 manufacturers. Well, now we've had 27, 28, 29 cars, right? And we still
Yeah.
have the 2 manufacturers. Chevy and Honda have done a phenomenal job, but obviously they're getting to the point where they're tapped out, right? Because
Yes.
we have such a full field right now, which is again a great problem to have, but it is, it comes with issues. So a third OEM is something we continue to work on very hard. It's something that's very important, and we feel good about. Hopefully something good can happen. From 27 going forward.
Yeah. Do Chevrolet, a few years back, Chevrolet and Honda both said that in order to ease the burden of supplying, a increasing number of cars, that they would be prepared to uh, share some of the burden with a third manufacturer to give them a leg up in jumping into this engine formula. Do they still feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's still part of the equation. It's what again, what is the CapEx cost? What is the point of entry cost? And Chevrolet and Honda, this is something that's very important to them too. Obviously, they have another third or fourth OEM come in, new partners. So they're very willing to help. And what that help looks like at this point is still to be determined, because there's an OEM prospect. Some might want more than the others, right? For whatever reason. So that's something that is still on the table. It's something that Chevy and Honda are still very enthused in. Again, they are great partners, and this is something that is very helpful.
Well, I mean, they certainly collaborated well on the hybrid piece.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. In terms of how you run INDYCAR, in terms of getting everyone's opinion, and you know, you run it as something of a democracy. Do you think that that's still healthy and helpful, or have you had to become a bit of a dictator at times?
No, well, I think that would be a good question for others, right? If it's still good or healthy versus me. But no, like I mentioned, so we were in our off-season meeting cadence. We had the drivers come yesterday. The meeting, basically we show, here's things that happened last year. Here's things that we're looking at for 25. Here's things for 26, 7, and going forward. We look at different situations that happened in 24, things that we think from an IndyCar perspective, we could have done better. There's things that we talk to them about our expectations of them, of what happened or didn't happen. And then there's many things we have probably 3 pages of things we call the discussion points. right? So we throw stuff up, and sometimes it's funny, year over year, it might be the same thing on the list, right? Because
Right.
there's redundancy to what we do. And what we always try to do is we try to build some sort of consensus on where we're going, what we're doing. And then if we can't find a consensus, we just keep it the same. So again, that's where the redundancy comes in, where we might talk about something again, because it feels like it's a problem, but ultimately we none of us can come up with a different solution. We just keep it the same. So, but it was it's a day. Yesterday's a day I look forward to all year. I mean, getting with these our drivers, and when we have the team manager one a couple months ago, our drivers, team managers, owners are all very vested in what we do. They all are just really great people and want this series to thrive. So when we have these meetings, it's very enlightening, and there's a lot of really good ideas that come out of it. So why would we not do that, right? Why would we not want? These are very smart people. They're vested in what we do. They're vested in where we're going. Certainly, we want their opinion.
Right. And
Like you said, ultimately, we got to decide. So when there's times when it's, okay, there's a 50-50 kind of thing going on here or whatever, then ultimately we got to come in and make the decision. That's fine. That's our job. But when you can build a consensus, that's the best way.
right. In terms of marketing, obviously there's been big splash of F1. Now holding 3 races here, but I noticed the Vegas race. The viewing figures were considerably down this year. Do you think that the F1's presence in this country is, do you regard it as a threat, or do you feel that the formulas are so different that open wheel is open wheel and the fans will watch both?
Yeah, I think that. I think from an industry, a motorsports industry, we're all in it together. It feels like to me. I mean, I'm a F1 fan, I'm a NASCAR fan. I'm World Outlaws, NHRA. If it's on TV, we're going to watch it. So I think there's a lot of that. I think a lot of INDYCAR fans, would tune into the F1 race in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago or this weekend, whatever. So, no, I think it's a good thing. If again the high tides rise, all boats, or however that goes, that we're all in it together, and we can all benefit from each other's success.
Right. One of the significant moves that I feel was made is securing the future of Long Beach Grand Prix. Are you seeking to do that with any other of the established events to ensure that what would you say are like the pillar races aside from obviously Long Beach and Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Yeah, well, Long Beach, that was a really amazing, a big deal to do that. I don't know, that would almost be playing offense and defense at the same time, right? Long Beach is a pillar event. It's an amazing event. Jim and all his team do a phenomenal job. That we were able to come in and do what we did is great. It protects the event for the future, which is amazing for the series. IMS is obviously like that, but you think even like a St. Pete's been around a long time now, right? Barber's been around a long time now. So if you start looking at our schedule, Milwaukee coming back, right, is a big deal. That's cool. So we've got a lot of really amazing events. Laguna, again, it came back a few years ago. So there's kind of a nice mix of historic kind of events that we've had over the years, with new, like with the Dallas thing come on in a couple of years, the thermal thing. We think we got a really nice. It's funny, when we first got here, there was this problem with date equity, and the schedule changed, and
yes,
right. So we stabilized that. We think we did a really good job getting date equity. The schedule's pretty stable annually, with the same venues, that type of thing. So now we get hey, when are you going to go someplace new? So I guess we did a good job with the date equity and stability, and now it's like, okay, what's next? So but we're the diversity of our schedule is really good. Again, like we talked earlier, we just got to continue to look for big events if we're going to expand in the future.
On that topic, do you feel that the switch from the downtown race in Nashville to the Nashville Oval was that a success, or can more be done to promote the oval race? Because obviously it is, it's the championship finale. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
What more can be done to do it? Because the festival feeling reminded me of Baltimore, or and to some extent Long Beach. But it's hard to capture that at an oval. What more can be done?
Well, Scott Burchett and his team did a really, really, really good job. We had there were some things downtown. We had the pit stop competition downtown, so we tried to tie into the downtown as much as we could. The nationals, the folks at SMI that own, the National Speedway were a pleasure to work with. They did a great job. So for something that was really put together late, right?
Yes.
I think it went off very, very well. And I think we just need to expand on what we did this year, with tying into the downtown, and then, more and more activation coming out to the track, because it would be to the speedway would be a good thing. So, yeah, I thought it was the race was good. I thought, the downtown part was really good. Executing at the track was really good. Again, we'll just expand on all of it for next year.
Okay.
This year, or next year. It's running next year, right? This is next year. We're
Yeah.
talking next year. That was last
Season. Next season starts the day after the current one ends. So yeah, absolutely. All right, Jay. Well, thank you very much. Very best of luck, and good job for this year, and congrats on the hybrid going almost seamlessly. I know it wasn't like that behind the scenes, but on the surface, it looked like it was a huge success. Introducing it mid-season looked like a dangerous idea, and I don't think it affected the outcome. I think we got so used to it working reliably that when it went wrong that it made headlines after that. So that's exactly as it should be. So,
well, thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Looking for a quick fix of motorsports news? The Speed Sport Daily is what you need. It's a free racing newsletter delivered directly to your email every day. We'll cover the winners and the losers and tell you who's making news off the track. It's NASCAR, NHRA, World of Outlaw, INDYCAR, and so much more. Go to speedsport.com today and get signed up for America's free racing newsletter and get your daily motorsports fix. The Speed Sport Daily.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
Scott Lewis & Associates, the sales, marketing, and branding specialist for the automotive performance industry since 1988. We get our manufacturers on track by opening an extensive distribution network, providing product training to sales staff, creating fully integrated sales and marketing strategies, building successful industry partnerships, attending trade shows, events, and races, offering first-class support to customers. SLAI delivers solutions that win you sales. To get in touch with an SLAI representative, call 516-378-6100. Go to scottlewisinc.com or email info@scottlewisinc.com.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series.
For over a decade, Fifth Third Bank has been a staunch supporter of our industry and a great partner for many companies in the motorsports field.
Our business has been growing extremely fast, and really we could not be where we are today without Fifth Third. They provided amazing strategic advice, the capital we need to support our phases of growth.
They are true partners for me now, and what they do with their involvement in motorsports is untouched in this community.
Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck with Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crowder Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crowder Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crowder Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crowder, victory is within your reach.
For over 25 years, Wisconsin-based C-Tech Manufacturing has been engineering and manufacturing the toughest, most accessible aluminum tool drawers, cabinets, carts, and tactical storage solutions for America's hardest working professionals. Whatever you need to store and however you need to store it, put your trust in C-Tech Manufacturing. We build it better. Visit our new website at ctechmanufacturing.com or give us a call at 715-355-8842.
If you're watching this video, you might be wondering, What is WPC? WPC is a surface treatment designed to reduce friction and increase the strength of metal parts. As much as it might seem like a coating, WPC is actually a surface treatment. Think of it like shot painting, but the media is much finer, like talc. So what you're left with is a super hard, smooth surface that actually has some proprietary dry lubricants embedded within it. For more information, visit WPCtreatment.com.